Welcome to Dolphin Dive Daily, your go-to spot for everything Miami Dolphins. If you bleed aqua and orange, hit that subscribe button and join the pod. Tyreek Hill, one of the most electrifying playmakers in the NFL, is once again at the center of growing concern in Miami, and this time it's something largely out of his control. With the Miami Dolphins deep into training camp and the preseason looming just days away, all eyes should be on development, chemistry, and game readiness. But instead, the conversation has shifted dramatically to injuries. It's become a frustratingly familiar storyline for Dolphins fans. They've seen it time and again, a promising roster, high expectations, and then the cruel twist of bad luck striking key players just when things are supposed to be coming together. This time around, the spotlight is burning brightly on Hill, who was unexpectedly absent from Wednesday's practice. According to C. Isaiah Smalls II of the Miami Herald, the reason for his absence is currently undisclosed. That kind of ambiguity tends to stoke the flames of speculation, and fans are understandably on edge with the season fast approaching. To make matters worse, Hill's absence wasn't entirely out of the blue. The Herald's Omar Kelly noted he saw Hill remove himself from practice on Tuesday, which suggests that whatever issue he's facing didn't come out of nowhere. It's been brewing. And for a player of Hill's caliber, any sign of limitation is cause for concern. After all, he's not just another weapon in the offense. He's the weapon. He changes games with a single play, draws double teams, and opens up the field for the rest of the offense. Losing even a fraction of his explosiveness could dramatically alter what the Dolphins can do on offense. And remember, this is a team that has already been dealing with a rash of injuries at critical positions. Starting cornerback Katakohu is done for the season with a devastating knee injury, and key contributors like Austin Jackson, Sam Smith, and Alec Ingold are all dealing with their own setbacks. It's starting to feel like deja vu for Miami fans. Let's rewind the tape a bit, because there's some context here that needs to be understood. Tyreek Hill played through a nagging wrist injury throughout the entire 2024 season. It wasn't just a minor issue either. It was serious enough that he underwent surgery in the offseason to fix it. Even though Hill suited up week after week, he didn't look like the same player. The breakaway speed was there in flashes, but the crispness, the confidence at the catch point, the afterburners, something always seemed just a little off. And it didn't help that the offense around him was crumbling. Tua Tagovailoa missed 6 games. The offensive line was a turnstile in the run game, and without those key components functioning, Hill's usual dominance was diluted. So now, with the 2025 season on the horizon, expectations were sky high that a fully healthy Hill would return to his peak form. But this week's developments have cast a shadow over that optimism. The Dolphins aren't built to withstand a serious blow to their receiving core. Yes! Jalen Waddle is a fantastic receiver in his own right, and the team has made strides in building out depth. But let's not pretend like you can just plug and play someone into Tyreek Hill's role. There's a reason Miami paid a king's ransom to bring him in. His presence alone dictates defensive schemes. He turns safeties into track stars and defensive coordinators into insomniacs. Without him fully healthy, the offense becomes far more predictable. The ripple effect can be felt all the way down the depth chart. Waddle faces tighter coverage. The running backs see fewer light boxes. Tua has to hold the ball longer. Everything changes. That's why this current cloud of uncertainty over Hill's health is so unsettling. Not just for fans, but for everyone with a vested interest in seeing this team reach its full potential. And it's not just Hill. Injuries are mounting across the board, and it's starting to feel like the team is walking a tightrope just to get through training camp. Coho's injury is a major loss for the secondary, especially considering the Dolphins were already thin at corner. Sam Smith and Austin Jackson being banged up affects both sides of the ball, and Ingold's concussion only adds to the pile. Mike McDaniel, always calm and measured with the media, confirmed Ingold's status on Wednesday, and his tone did little to reassure fans hoping for a clean bill of health across the board. With every passing day, it feels more and more like Miami's limping into a season that hasn't even started yet. And that's not where you want to be. Not when you're in a division with Josh Allen's Bills and Aaron Rodgers' Jets breathing down your neck. As far as the upcoming preseason matchup against the Chicago Bears goes, let's be real. There was never much of a chance Tyreek Hill was going to see the field. Preseason snaps for elite veterans are rare, and rightly so. Coaches would much rather keep their stars bubble wrapped than risk a meaningless injury. But this situation is different. It's not just about sitting him out for rest. It's about whether or not he's dealing with something that could linger. That's what has people worried. If this was just a typical vet day off, the team would likely say as much. The fact that it's being kept under wraps, paired with the visual of him pulling himself from practice, suggests there's more here than meets the eye. That's why Friday's joint practice with the Bears in Chicago is suddenly such a big deal. It's not just about scrimmaging. It's a chance to see if Hill is back on the field. Because make no mistake, this is the kind of preseason storyline that can spiral quickly if left unchecked. Fans, media, and even opposing coaches start to pay attention when a star player goes missing from practice. And with Hill, it's not just about health, it's about timing. Chemistry with Tua, rhythm in the offense, timing on routes. All of that is built in camp. If Hill is sidelined for an extended period, it disrupts that flow. McDaniel's offense is predicated on timing and speed. You can't replicate that in walkthroughs or team meetings. You need reps. You need live action. You need your best players on the field building cohesion. And so far, that's just not happening. There's a growing sense of unease around the facility, even if no one wants to say it out loud. The vibes that were so promising just a few weeks ago now feel a bit shaky. It's a cruel reality of football. The healthiest teams tend to be the most successful. The Dolphins know this all too well. Last season's playoff push was derailed, in large part because of injuries. Tua's absence was a body blow, but it wasn't just him. The offensive line crumbled, the defense wore down, and key playmakers like Hill were running on fumes. Coming into 2025, the hope was that better luck and improved conditioning would give them a cleaner runway into the season. But with training camp not even 3 full weeks in, that hope is already being tested. And Tyreek Hill's current situation is the perfect encapsulation of that reality. He's the face of the offense, the tone setter, the guy who makes defenses play scared. If he's compromised even a little bit, it's hard not to feel like Miami's margin for error just shrank dramatically. Of course, all of this could be rendered moot if Hill returns to practice Friday, flying down the sideline with that signature burst, grinning from ear to ear, showing no signs of discomfort. Dolphins fans would exhale collectively and the media storm would calm down for now. But until that happens, the uncertainty remains. And in the NFL, uncertainty is a dangerous thing. It invites pressure. It sows doubt. It shifts narratives. The Dolphins can't afford that right now. Not in a year where expectations are sky high. Not in a conference where every win matters. Tyreek Hill may not be the quarterback, but he is every bit as important to the Dolphins' success. His health, his availability, his explosiveness, they're all essential components of Miami's formula. So until he's back fully active and making defenders look silly, this story isn't going away. If anything, it's just getting started. As we move closer to Sunday's preseason opener, all eyes will remain locked on Tyreek Hill's status. Will he return to practice and silence the noise? Or will his absence stretch into next week, forcing more uncomfortable questions about his readiness for the season? Either way, the Dolphins can't afford to mishandle this situation. There's too much at stake. This isn't just about one game, one practice, or one preseason series. This is about setting the tone for a campaign that could define this era of Dolphins football. Miami has the talent to compete with anyone. They've got a head coach with vision, a quarterback with upside, and a roster that's been carefully constructed to win now. But none of it works unless the pieces stay on the field. And Tyreek Hill? He's the most important piece of all. For now, the Dolphins and their fans can only hope that the silence surrounding Hill is just cautionary, not prophetic. Still with us? Then show some love. Hit that like button and let us know in the comments. What's your take on the Fins this week? Nick BOSA to the Miami Dolphins? That's the rumor that's been burning through the NFL grapevine like wildfire over the past few days. And let me tell you, if it's even half true, the league needs to brace itself. BOSA, one of the most dominant defensive ends of his generation, could be packing his bags for South Beach. And if that happens, everything changes. We're not talking about a minor defensive boost here. We're talking about a total transformation of a franchise. From the sunny beaches of Miami to the freezing turf in Foxborough, whispers are growing louder that BOSA's camp has been in low-key discussions with the Dolphins front office. While nothing is confirmed, insiders close to the situation say there's mutual interest, and it's more than just exploratory. This is real. This is brewing. And if it breaks, the AFC East could be entering a brand new era of chaos, led by BOSA in aqua and orange. Now, let's break this down. Why would Nick Bosa, a pillar of the San Francisco 49ers defense, even consider leaving? Simple. It's about timing, ambition, and perhaps something deeper. San Francisco has been on the brink of a Super Bowl title for years, but Bosa might be seeing cracks in the foundation. He's tasted the highs and felt the heartbreaks, but Miami is a team on the rise, with a high-octane offense, a revamped defense, and a front office that's been making aggressive moves to win now. If Bosa is looking for a place where he can make an immediate impact and cement his legacy, the Dolphins make sense. They've got the cap space, the need for a dominant edge rusher, and a city that's buzzing with playoff dreams. Sources suggest that Bosa is intrigued by the prospect of teaming up with Vic Fangio again, a familiar face who could unlock even more of Bosa's terrifying potential. Picture this: Tua launching deep bombs to Tyreek Hill while the defense, led by Bosa, crushes quarterbacks into the turf. The Dolphins already boast speed and flash on offense, but adding someone like Bosa brings grit, fear, and intimidation on the other side of the ball. It would create a perfect storm. Rival coaches in the AFC are already uneasy, according to anonymous league sources. One defensive coordinator reportedly said, if Bosa goes to Miami, we're rewriting our entire protection schemes. That's the kind of presence Bosa commands. He doesn't just make plays, he dictates entire game plans. And in a division where quarterbacks like Josh Allen and Aaron Rodgers are looking to dominate, having someone who can consistently disrupt timing, crush pockets, and chase down mobile threats is invaluable. The ripple effect of this move could redefine the balance of power in the AFC. Let's not forget the Dolphins were already close. Last season, they flirted with greatness, showcasing moments of brilliance but falling short when it mattered most. Injuries played a role, inexperience too, but their core is undeniable and hungry. Adding a player like Bosa doesn't just improve the team on the field, it sends a message across the NFL. Miami is done playing small. This would be a big boy move, the kind of acquisition that signals a shift from contender to powerhouse. It's the kind of transaction that energizes a locker room and terrifies opponents. According to some close to the Dolphins organization, they see Bosa as the final piece, the anchor to a defensive unit that's been striving for consistency. Pairing him with guys like Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb could create one of the most fearsome front sevens in the league. And when you combine that with a lethal offense, watch out. Of course, there are skeptics. Some are calling this nothing more than smoke. Agents trying to drive up leverage for a better contract in San Francisco. That's always a possibility. But here's the thing. Too many insiders are saying the same thing for this to be a complete fabrication. One source close to Bosa's camp hinted he's open to something new. He's done a lot in the Bay. Maybe it's time for sunshine. And with Bosa's reputation for playing with calculated intensity, a move to Miami wouldn't just be a money grab. It would be strategic, a chess move, not checkers. Miami offers a fresh stage, a new fan base, and a franchise with ambition. And Bosa, he wants to win. That much is clear. Whether that's in Miami or elsewhere, he's not settling. And the fact that he's even entertaining this idea, that's enough to cause a stir across the entire league. There's also the marketing angle. Miami's a media capital in its own right. Combine Bosa's star power with the flash of South Florida, and you've got a branding bonanza. Think endorsement deals, off-field opportunities, and a massive spike in jersey sales. And let's be honest, the NFL is as much about spectacle as it is about strategy. Bosa in a Dolphins jersey would be must-watch TV, primetime games, media. Buzz, rivalries intensified. This move would hit on every level. The league would eat it up. Fans would flood Hard Rock Stadium, and the Dolphins would instantly become one of the most talked about teams in the league. That's not just hype, that's business. And with the NFL expanding globally and chasing every viewer possible, high-profile moves like this carry weight far beyond the field. This isn't just about sacks and tackles. It's about impact, visibility, and narrative. Let's talk numbers. BOSA is due for a massive contract if he's going to switch teams. But the Dolphins, according to recent cap projections, can make it work, especially if they rework a few deals and push some money around. With smart financial maneuvering, it's not impossible. And if there's one thing this front office has shown, it's that they're not afraid to spend. They went all in on Tyreek Hill. They're building around Tua. And now they might be ready to drop the hammer with BOSA. A front-loaded deal, a signing bonus-heavy structure, and some creative accounting could bring this from rumor to reality. And if the Dolphins are truly as close as they believe, if they're one player away, then why not break the bank for one of the best defenders in the game? It's bold, it's risky, but it might just be brilliant. What about the 49ers? Well, this puts them in a tough spot. Losing a generational talent like BOSA isn't something you recover from easily. Yes, they have depth. Yes, they have a system. But BOSA is a tone setter, a guy whose presence alone elevates everyone around him. If he walks, it signals a turning point for the franchise. Are they rebuilding? Are they still contenders? The questions will start piling up fast. And for BOSA, it's not just about football. It's about legacy. Does he stay and try to win where he started? Or does he take control of his destiny and choose a path that excites him, challenges him, and maybe offers a better shot at glory? The tension is real, and as training camp looms, so does the pressure. This isn't just noise anymore. It's a situation that demands watching, and soon we'll get our answer. So where does that leave us? In a holding pattern for now. But the signs are everywhere. The cryptic social media posts, the quiet meetings, the subtle hints in interviews. BOSA isn't shouting it from the rooftops, but he's not shutting it down either. And that silence? That's loud. It's telling. Something is happening behind the scenes. Whether it ends with BOSA in a Dolphins uniform or not, the buzz has taken on a life of its own. Fans are speculating, analysts are theorizing, and rivals are nervously watching. Because if this move happens, if BOSA really does land in Miami, it could alter everything. From playoff predictions to MVP races, from fantasy football to ticket sales, this is one of those moments where the NFL holds its breath. And for now, all eyes are on BOSA. In the end, we might be witnessing the calm before the storm. Because Nick BOSA doesn't just join teams, he changes them. And if he signs with the Miami Dolphins, there won't be a defense in the league that can match their ferocity. It's still a rumor, still unconfirmed, but it has the scent of something more, something real, something seismic. The Dolphins have long been the sleeping giants of the AFC, waiting for the final spark to ignite their rise. And maybe, just maybe, that spark is Nick BOSA. If it happens, remember where you heard it first. This could be the beginning of a new chapter in the NFL. One written in speed, power, and pure defensive terror. Keep your ears open because this story is far from over. And if the whispers are true, the league's about to feel the full force of BOSA's wrath, Miami style. That's a wrap for today's dive. If you're loving the content, share it with a fellow Dolphins fan, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a splash. Fins up!